Welcome, honored viewers, to the shifting sands of time, where ancient secrets sleep beneath the magnificent, blazing sun. For centuries, this Great Pyramid has fueled wild tales of alien beings and ruthless, brutal slave masters. Yet, what if the truth hidden deep beneath the desert sand is far more magnificent than any Hollywood myth? Forget cracking whips and magic spells. Today we reveal the unparalleled, brilliant genius of the Egyptian mind. Witness how a mortal kingdom built a timeless stairway to the heavens using only simple, heavy copper tools. Standing upon the Giza plateau for over 4 millennia, the Great Pyramid remains an absolute wonder. It is the last surviving marvel of the ancient world, built during the glorious reign of the great Pharaoh Khufu. The sheer scale of this monument completely baffles the modern mind, rising boldly into the clear blue desert sky. According to historical records, the structure consists of roughly 2.3 million heavy limestone blocks. Each massive stone weighs anywhere from 2 to 80 tons, dragged slowly across the unforgiving, scorching desert sands. Its outer casing was originally made of polished white limestone, gleaming brightly like a brilliant fallen star. Reflecting the sun so intensely, it could easily be seen from the distant, majestic mountains of Israel. The absolute precision of the architecture is equally terrifying, aligned almost perfectly to true north. The giant stones are fitted so incredibly tightly together that you cannot slip a razor blade between the cracks. How could an ancient civilization achieve such geometrical perfection without the aid of modern technology? Lacking the wheel, they relied entirely on pure human muscle and wooden sledges for heavy stone transport. Their primary instruments were simple chisels made of copper and pounding stones crafted carefully from solid rock. The royal architect Hemiunu stood before this daunting task. Carrying the heavy, immense burden of a nation, he meticulously drafted complex blueprints on delicate papyrus, calculating angles with profound precision. Every single measurement had to be flawless to ensure the eternal resting place of the living sun god. Feeding and housing tens of thousands of workers in the harsh, brutal desert seems completely impossible today. It required a supply chain so advanced that even modern military generals would stand in absolute awe. How did they move massive granite slabs from Aswan, located over 500 miles south of the Great Plateau? How did they hoist stones weighing dozens of tons, hundreds of feet into the air, without hydraulic lifting cranes? If you were the grand architect facing such an impossible deadline, what ingenious methods would you deploy today? These truly baffling questions have haunted historians for generations, leaving an enduring historical void. The lack of detailed construction manuals from the Old Kingdom only deepens the profound, ancient mystery of Giza. Greek historians like Herodotus speculated much later, but their written accounts are heavily and deeply flawed. He famously claimed that heavy machines made of short wooden planks were utilized to lift the massive stones upward. Modern engineering tests suggest such wooden devices would quickly snap under the immense crushing weight of stone. Others proposed massive external ramps, spiraling around the structure, wrapping it tightly like a giant serpent. However, a ramp of that massive magnitude would require more building material than the pyramid itself contains. The deeper we look into the evidence, the more the traditional explanations begin to fall apart completely. We are left staring at a mountain of stone that should not exist according to the laws of ancient science. This incredible vacuum of historical knowledge inevitably gave birth to the most unbelievable modern theories. Nature abhors a vacuum, and human imagination quickly stepped in to fill the gaps with fantastical stories. A popular fringe theory suggests that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth to bestow their cosmic knowledge. Proponents argue that the perfect alignment with the constellation Orion proves an undeniable alien connection. They picture glowing entities descending from the sky, levitating massive blocks with highly advanced laser beams. Others passionately advocate for the lost city of Atlantis, claiming survivors brought their ancient magic here. These ancient Atlanteans supposedly used acoustic levitation, singing the heavy limestone blocks into the sky. While these supernatural tales are highly entertaining, they rob our ancestors of their rightful glory. To credit aliens for this masterpiece is to severely underestimate the potential of the human mind. But there is a darker myth that has poisoned our understanding of the Egyptian world for a century. Hollywood movies have painted a grim picture of millions of miserable slaves, chained and oppressed continuously. We imagine cruel overseers driving exhausted laborers to the absolute brink of human endurance. We visualize exhausted men collapsing into the scorching sand, forced to drag giant stones until their final end. This narrative paints the pharaohs as heartless tyrants who built their massive tombs on the fragile bones of the poor. Even the Book of Exodus has been mistakenly linked to the pyramids, reinforcing the illusion of slavery. This cinematic imagery is burned into our collective memory, shaping how we view Egyptian culture. We are led to believe that fear and unimaginable suffering were the true foundations of this majestic wonder. But deeply think about it. Could a society built entirely on terror and misery achieve such perfect harmony? Can starving, oppressed men execute complex math calculations and chisel solid stone with absolute, pure perfection? The quality of craftsmanship strongly suggests dedication, not the trembling hands of a fearful, broken slave. A monument designed to reflect the eternal divine order could never be constructed through brutal violence. Furthermore, managing a slave army of that size would require a military force that simply did not exist. The logistics of guarding and controlling millions of resentful captives would have quickly bankrupted the state. The Old Kingdom was a period of incredible stability, completely incompatible with endless, dark despair. So, if the architects were not aliens, and the builders were not slaves, who actually raised these massive stones? To find the hidden truth, we must turn our eyes away from Hollywood screens and look deep into the ancient sand. We must listen to the silent whispers of the past, preserved perfectly beneath the unforgiving Egyptian sun. Modern archaeology has pierced the veil of mystery, relying on hard evidence instead of wild, ancient myths. Armed with advanced scanning technology, brave researchers made a completely groundbreaking, epic discovery. The real, undeniable story of the pyramids is far more human and infinitely more impressive than fiction. Let us journey back in time, not to a place of magic, but to the greatest logistical operation in history. In 2013, an archaeological team at the port of Wadi al-Jarf struck historical gold. They successfully unearthed a collection of fragile papyrus scrolls, safely hidden inside ancient limestone caves. These documents turned out to be the personal logbook of a middle-ranking official named Inspector Mera. Mera's diary is the oldest papyrus ever discovered, offering a direct window into the pyramid's creation. The ancient logbook meticulously records the daily activities of his dedicated crew of skilled sailors. It details how they transported massive blocks of white limestone from the eastern quarries across the mighty river. According to the ancient text, this brilliant operation relied on the annual flooding of the mighty Nile. Egyptians transformed the dry landscape by digging a complex network of artificial canals and deep basins. When the powerful Nile waters rose, these engineered channels filled up, creating a massive inland desert port. This allowed heavy transport boats to deliver the massive stones directly to the base of the Great Pyramid. It was a triumph of hydraulic engineering, bypassing the need to drag heavy stones for miles across the land. Mura's crew made the journey from the quarry to the pyramid multiple times a month with absolute precision. Picture the grand ships sailing smoothly on man-made waterways, their wooden oars breaking the water's surface. The sun baked the bronzed skin of the sailors as they expertly navigated the heavy cargo towards its destiny. This was an organized state operation, functioning with the rhythmic precision of a perfectly tuned clock. The massive limestone blocks were carefully unloaded at the extremely busy harbor near the pyramid base. But how did they move these giant weights across the final stretch of dry and constantly shifting desert sand? A painting from an ancient tomb provides a beautifully simple and truly elegant answer for us today. The dedicated workers placed the heavy stones on large wooden sledges, binding them tightly with extremely thick ropes. A worker standing at the front of the wooden sledge poured water directly onto the dry, scorching sand ahead. This brilliant act of wetting the sand dramatically reduced the intense physical friction of the heavy wood. Modern physics experiments confirm that damp sand cuts the required pulling force perfectly in half. With the ground prepared, the teams of muscular men pulled the heavy ropes in absolute, perfect harmony. They chanted rhythmic work songs under the bright sky, moving the stone smoothly toward its ultimate goal. There was no chaotic shouting, absolutely no cracked whips, and certainly no desperate cries of agony. The massive building project functioned smoothly, like a highly disciplined, elite military operation. Decades of thorough archaeological digging have finally exposed the true identity of these laborers. Researchers discovered sprawling workers' villages located directly next to the truly great monuments. These ancient towns were fully equipped with large bakeries, breweries, and extensive sleeping quarters. The sheer volume of animal bones found reveals a daily diet extremely rich in high-quality, delicious meat. Slaves are never fed prime cuts of beef or provided with excellent medical care for tragically broken bones. Skeletons show that injured workers had their limbs carefully set and fully healed by highly skilled doctors. These massive structures were proudly built by highly respected, well-paid citizens of the Egyptian state. The builders were not forced captives. They were incredibly proud specialists, organized into dedicated teams. They even gave their crews humorous names, like the Drunkards of Khufu, painted boldly on the hidden stones. This remarkable detail vividly paints a picture of a cheerful workforce, driven by strong camaraderie. They were compensated generously with vast rations of thick beer, fresh bread, and nutritious vegetables. Beer was not just a simple drink. It was an absolutely essential source of daily calories and workers' wages. During the flood season, when farming fields were submerged, agricultural workers eagerly joined the effort. This seasonal labor was a sacred duty, uniting the whole country under a single, powerful, divine goal. The construction of the pyramid was a huge national project that permanently forged the identity of Egypt. Imagine tens of thousands of brilliant minds and strong hands working together in perfect, uninterrupted harmony. They were tightly bound, not by heavy iron chains or a fear of death, but by absolute devotion to their god-king. To the deeply faithful ancient builders, the Pharaoh was the living incarnation of the glorious sun god on earth. Ensuring his majestic journey to the afterlife was absolutely vital to maintaining the cosmic balance. If the king achieved true immortality, he would bless the land with fertile floods and endless prosperity. Building the Great Tomb was therefore an act of supreme religious faith, and profoundly deep national pride. As the final capstone was carefully placed at the very top, a powerful wave of triumph swept the hot desert. The polished white limestone casing gleamed with an ethereal, blinding light, completely fulfilling its purpose. The architects and devout priests watched in silent reverence as their magnificent creation pierced the sky. There was absolutely no forgotten magic here, and certainly no intervention from ancient alien species. The true miracle of Giza powerfully lies in the extraordinary capability of human organization. It represents an unprecedented level of coordination that we genuinely struggle to fully comprehend even today. The Great Pyramid is not a symbol of agonizing slavery, but a glorious monument to incredible devotion. It powerfully teaches us that when tens of thousands of minds perfectly align toward a single, unified, glorious vision, we can literally move mountains of solid stone and construct ancient wonders that outlast the march of centuries. The brilliant engineers of the Old Kingdom left us a profound legacy that speaks louder than any ancient text. They mastered the brutal forces of nature with profound patience, deep intellect, and steady, unyielding discipline. Every perfectly carved block is a beautifully lasting tribute to the resilience and power of the human spirit. We do a massive disservice to historical truth when we wrongfully attribute their hard-earned achievements to magic. By respectfully acknowledging their true effort, we proudly restore their ancient voices and honor their civilization. The Great Pyramid is human genius carved in stone, staring proudly across the vast, endless river of time. The Great Pyramid proudly stands as the ultimate testament to unyielding human will, defying the sands of time. Was it a pure miracle of astonishing human engineering, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts below. If you enjoyed this fascinating journey, please like, share, and faithfully subscribe to our channel for more history.